All right, so today we're going to be showing you guys EQ, gate, and just kind of the processing. So the first thing I want to show you is you can change the order that your signal is processed by hitting edit down here, and then you can move your effect up a spot, down a spot, wherever you need it to be. So your gate could be at the bottom, not sure why you want to do that. Your pan control, you can move everything however you need to. Once you're through, you can just hit edit and everything's off. So I'm going to just be doing the kick drum. This is a live recording we did for the Alabama Music Hall of Fame induction, and Jamie Johnson happened to be playing on this song. But just wanted to show you guys just some different stuff that it can do, which is really nice, all of the samples that are on here. And they did name them some weird things, I think, just to keep from getting in trouble from some other people. But we'll kind of let you guys listen to this pre-recorded track, and it's kind of weird sounding kick drum, but you get it dialed in just to show you how we can make the gates and everything work. So I've done a lot of processing with the gate because without it on, it sounded pretty terrible. And you can also hear a ton of the vocals through it. So on our gate here, I'm going to turn it on and just kind of show you how to use the gate here. So I'm going to turn the main volume down, and you'll still be able to hear it some on the recording. But you can see we have our threshold. That's going to be where it actually opens up the gate. So the lower you have this, anything's going to be above the gate. The higher that you do it, that's going to end up making it to where it has to open the gate to get through. So they've added an envelope over on this side instead of just having your usual attack, hold, and release, which if you're used to synthesizers, this is pretty neat because it's like an envelope on a synthesizer. It's really the only way to say it. So our attack is going to be how quick it ends up opening it up. Our hold, if we were to do that, you can see it holds it for a long time. And that's kind of like if you're on a synthesizer, you push down on the button. It's how long it takes to get up to the sound. As long as you're holding that, the hold is pretty much infinite on a synthesizer, and then the release is how quickly it goes back to whatever you're doing. So you could have a very short hold, you could have a quick release, you could have a quick attack, and you can kind of make this kick a little bit better, which still sounds pretty terrible. But it's helping to get rid of a bunch of the ambient sound on the other ways. So on our EQ here, I've got an SSL pulled up, and you can listen to the difference this is gonna make. It's kind of crazy. We'll turn it back on. It is a lot more low end. It's just a really cool sound. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn that back down. So the SSL EQ on this, I really like that they have a copy of that. You have the ability to hit here, use this encoder to do whatever adjustment you want to, or you also have the low gain, the low mid frequency, low mid gain, high mid frequency, high mid gain, and the high frequency gain. So you do have to do quite a bit of pushing and turning the knobs over here, which really isn't a ton of a big deal, but this EQ I really do like. So I don't really want to mess up what I've got going on with that, so we'll go to the snare. So the typical EQ that it's going to have is going to be this nice 6-band parametric. So we've got our verb that I've already got assigned, we'll get to in a later video, but we're going to turn this on, and we're probably at the end. They're not going to be playing drums for a second. See if I can rewind. There we go. Which of course is just doing some rim shots now. But on the EQ on this, I do like on this new upgrade, you can just hit EQ and get to it, which is nice. So you do your finger that way, it gets bigger. This way, it gets smaller on the Q. And it's a positive 15 dB or negative 15 dB cut. It's pretty crazy what all you can do with it. So this is their EQ, and as you can tell up here, go ahead and turn it back down. Maybe I'll hit the snare in a minute. You have an RTA on every one of these channels, which is just incredibly nice. So with that, you're going to be able to see the frequencies. If you have feedback, you'll be able to see it a lot easier. You also have the ability to freeze. So you can freeze the RTA, see the problem that you've got. Your mix, you can go up to 125%, which essentially it just turns up the EQ. And if you do that, it decreases the EQ. So I'm just gonna leave that 100, not a big use for us. But you do have the other options here. You can do the tilt EQ. You can put a low cut. Hey, we're finally gonna be hitting the snare. That way you can hear what it does. So if we want to make it a little more fat, get a little more sizzle. So the EQ is pretty effective. It's pretty nice, to be honest. So I'm really happy with the EQ that's got on there, but to change it, you have all these different samples of what you can do with it. So we'll go to this little guy for a second, and trying to think what we could do. You'd actually hear most of a difference. Get a little bit more of that out. So you could really define the snare, get it the way you want it to go. The only thing that's bad is when you go back to your EQ, it has flattened out what you've done, which is kind of annoying. So I'm going to go ahead and kill that, and we're going to stop this track for a minute. If I can try to remember where we're at, for us to go back in a little bit and listen to a full track once you get everything dialed in. I think that would be close to something. So the gates, we kind of went over how you can do the envelope. It also has some traditional gates from back in the day. And I really like this auto writer feature that you can use. It works really well for a bunch of things. I probably use it for things that you shouldn't be using it for. So our EQ here, a bunch of different stuff. SSL is going to be my favorite for sure. And then compressors, we're going to get onto that in a little while, but many other things you can do. I like that you can put this auto writer. I consider it more of a compressor than a gate. You can put that on here, and I actually put it on Jamie Johnson's vocal just to keep it from getting a little bit harsh when you put a lot of power into it. But the gate, we'll go back and talk about that just a little bit more. We'll go back to the typical gate that's on it. So the range will let you kind of see what it can do at the bottom here. It changes the threshold and how it kind of drops off whenever you're doing it. Ratio is going to be how severe this thing is. And sometimes you do have to get pretty severe with a gate. A lot of times I use gates on toms because, and you can see I've actually got them on all of these toms, the both racks and the floor tom. And it really does help out to get rid of splashy cymbal noises you don't need, that you could just kind of isolate and just have them on the overheads. The envelope, kind of went over it. It's a nice thing to have, but I'm scared it's going to confuse people more than it's going to help them at first. But once you figure out what it is, it's pretty cool that you can just grab and extend things very quickly. So if you want to look at synthesizers and how it works, it does a good job. And you can also, with the gate, you can key off of other things. So keying with the kick and the bass drum, it helps out a lot. That way, anytime the kick hits, it kind of ducks the bass down, and you can allow the kick drum to hit and just kind of go through. On the kick drum here, I went ahead and I put a bandpass filter, and I've got it at 100 hertz. So anytime the kick hits, it's really only listening for that information that's near the 20 to, realistically, we're going to say it's between about 60 and 200. And that would be about where the kick drum's going to be. So it opens and closes the gates off of that. The key solo is going to let you listen to whatever frequency you're listening for on your headphones. And let's see what else I can tell you about the gate on this one. It's really cool. Key source, of course, that's up here. So if you wanted to get the bass channel or whatever you want to do for it, you can do that as well. Accent percentage, I'm going to leave that at 0. Let's see what else. It's really about it on the gate. Gates are very useful. EQs are very useful as well. But so the EQ on this, we're going to go back to, instead of being the SSL, more of a parametric that you'll be able to use for so many things. The only thing I did notice, if you go in here and let's say you turned on the low cut and the high cut, with this new upgrade, you can go very far. So the new firmware update allows you to go all the way up to, it looks like 2 kilohertz, which is crazy for a high pass. And then our low pass, that is wild. You can go all the way down to 50 hertz. That's a big difference from what it was. So the only problem is, if you were to turn your EQ off and you do have a low cut and a high cut on, it's not going to kill that. So it's going to kill everything else, but it's going to leave that on, which might be a good thing for some people, could be bad for others. And then you also have the tilt EQ. So if you have the tilt EQ turned on, let's see if I can show you guys. I'm not even sure where the knob is to do that. Here's the tilt. All right. So pretty much you're going to see that it basically does what it says. It's going to tilt 6 dB. So that's going to be positive 6 dB on this side. It's going to take it away there. And that would be positive 6 dB on this side and take it away there. So it could be useful for some people. I'd rather just adjust it to make things work. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of all of that. Hit done on that. Looks like everything's good on that. So EQing is something you just have to figure out what is good for you on EQing. So you can have somebody tell you that a kick drum's supposed to always look like this and blah, blah, blah. I mean, this kick drum needed some help. So you can see what I've done here. The low frequency, it is way up there. The high frequency, pretty much maxed out on the high frequency gain. We could go just a little bit more. So it's really whatever makes it sound good to you. And each room is different. Sometimes you're gonna have to cut so much low mid out that you're not gonna be able to do much of anything anyway. So gate and EQ, that's kind of just an idea of what it can do. We can get into a lot more of the other stuff, but I was just gonna let you guys hear a second from this. Let me see if I can pull it up. And I haven't spent hardly any time, so don't critique me too bad on this. I just routed this in this morning, played with it for about 15 minutes, and here we are making this video. So we'll see if we can find where this song is, unmute a few things. And we will find where we're at. So I bet this is where they're talking on the podium.
Yeah. Can't find a place to stand.
And before he completely starts going, I do want to make sure you guys know I am trying something just to see how it goes. I actually have effects routed into the channel. So this is Jamie Johnson's vocal, and I have the effect post fader just inserted into it. And I'm wanting to see how this goes. I'm probably never going to use it like this on a vocal mic, but I'm doing it on toms and snare drum just to see how it works, because it will keep me from wasting a bunch of buses for effects. So that's that. Go back here and get it started.
I said, Mom, don't you worry. I'm getting by just fine out on the road. Yeah, tonight we played in Knoxville. Tomorrow night is back to Music Row. No, I don't know when I'm coming home. Montgomery seems so very far away. She said, boy, it wouldn't kill you none to look out past the bright lights on that stage. 'Cause God put stars in Alabama you just can't find in Tennessee. The same ones are waiting on taught you how to dream. I know there's big names up in Nashville, and you'll be one before too long. God put stars in Alabama to help you find your way back home. I hung up the phone and I could feel the emptiness at 80 miles an hour. And I listened close and I could hear my heart beating louder than the towers. This old bus was headed west. My mind was drifting somewhere toward the south. And I closed my eyes and I could see that bright light shining clearly through the clouds. God put stars in Alabama. You just can't find in Tennessee. The same ones are waiting on you. That taught you how to dream. I know there's big names up in Nashville. You'll be one before too long. God put stars in Alabama to help you find your way back home. Yeah, there's stars in Alabama. Ain't you ever coming home?
So pretty cool. And I mean, I hadn't spent any time on this, and I'm already happy with the way it sounds. The gates and the EQ is great. We're going to talk about compressors in a later video, but it's just really cool what all you can do with a little bit of that. Because as you notice, like when you were just listening to the kick drum, it sounds pretty terrible. But, and I wish that I would have had it to where you could hear the kick drum the first few seconds of that. But once you get everything kind of dialed in, it makes a big difference when you put it all together. So you really just have to make space in the mix for everything to work. But hopefully this has helped you kind of understand how you can use gates, how it can be effective. You can also change this from a gate to being some other stuff too. But if I could even find where it's at, but I'm pretty sure you can change these to, yeah, they have a ducker, and I'm pretty sure they'll have an expander on the compressor side. But between that and just a little bit of EQ, you can really change the way things sound. And this band solo is super nice. So if you have a band selected, it lets you hear in your headphones exactly what you've got on the EQ, which is really cool too. And the freeze option, there's a lot of stuff that's on this that hasn't been on the other. So really cool. Really excited to get to play with it some more. And it's just a whole lot more than the X32 and the M32 as far as DSP and processing power. So since we're talking about EQ, the last thing I'll show you on here that has got me more excited about anything that's on this console, when you have your sends on fader. So right now I've got Jamie Johnson's vocal selected. So on his vocal, let's say for some reason you're doing monitors from front of house. This makes it so much easier where, let's say this was his monitor. So you go ahead and you're shooting some of that into his monitor, and he goes, hey man, I really need some more high mid. So if we went back and changed the EQ here and gave a little bit more high mid, it wouldn't be a very good thing because it would end up kind of messing with the whole mix. So it would mess up with front of house, even though it would help a little bit there. And you can see I actually had to get rid of some here. So the cool thing with this console is now that if you have it selected on his mix, you can go up here to Pre-for EQ. This is a 3-band EQ that is dedicated just for the output of monitors, which is so nice. So I'm going to go ahead and let's say he wanted us to boost some high mid. So we're going to go ahead, and I still am not used to how you have to do this. But we're going to have that little bit of a high mid bump to where he can really cut through in the monitor, which is really nice. And it didn't affect at all what I had going on for my house EQ. So you have that separate 3-band EQ for every single channel. So I'm on his, I'm going to go ahead and go to one of the background singers and see it's off right now. So you have one of these for every single channel for every single output, which just kind of blows my mind. And I guess I'm going to make sure it is every single output and I don't lie to you. Not for every single output. That's kind of sad. So as of right now, it's going to be that EQ boosts it in everybody's monitor. But that's still pretty crazy because you've never had that control before on anything else. What I would end up usually having to do is just copy a channel to another channel, and we would have one vocal for front of house, the other vocal was just for monitors. It wouldn't be assigned to the main bus, and we would use it just on the mixes. So another cool thing EQ-wise is there. And then on all of our outputs, you also have a decent amount of EQ too. So you can see we have low 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and high. So all sorts of good stuff on that. And I wonder if it'll let you change. Won't let you change the type. So that's kind of sad. I was hoping it might. Still pretty crazy. Lots of EQ control on something for sure. And then our tilt, yeah, that's all you got. But it's still, if you need to use more EQ than this on an output, something is wrong anyway. But it's very nice. And always remember on this, I've had to do this a lot lately on kick drums. We're going to pretend this is a kick drum. So we're trying to get that little bit of attack here. Get this thing narrow. If you can't get enough attack, you can always take another channel and you can boost it even more. So we get that pretty small. So I mean, you're now looking at a positive 30 dB boost at whatever I'm at, somewhere between 2 and 6K. So I've had to do that a lot lately just to get a bunch of attack, and it keeps me from having to duplicate a kick drum channel just to have one for high frequency and one for low frequency. You can just do a little bit of boosting here, which that's helped me out a lot on a lot of situations because I hate doing, and I know a lot of people probably love it, but a Beta 52 and a 91 or a D6 and a 91, I'd rather just have one kick drum. It's less to have to worry about. So pretty neat though. And if you guys have any questions, let us know. Please hit like and subscribe to us. And if you ever need any gear, just give us a call, 256-275-4734. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.